Good evening and welcome to the Center for Rural Development. For those of you who have not been in here, we're thrilled to have you here. I know most of the scholars had not been here, and this week when we changed to Lindsey Wilson College's campus, it took away some of those educational opportunities that we've had with the scholars in showing them all the things that go on at the center. We've tried to educate them just a little bit, but we didn't get as good a job as I would like to do in educating them about what's going on. Parents, thank you so much for sharing your sons and daughters with us this week. I'm amazed every class, not just every year, but every class, how much different each class is. And the first week of Rogers Scholars this year, it was a very quiet group, very respectful, and I mean there were no troublemakers in the group, but just a very quiet group, and we couldn't get them, I never could get them to really open up in some of the sessions. We had to really coax them to ask questions. I will tell you that's not the problem with this group. This group had lots of questions and lots of really good questions. And I said it early on, I said it a little earlier today, but this is probably one of the best groups overall that I've seen come through the program, and I've had the good fortune of being every single year of the program in the 16 years that it's gone on. I've had the good fortune of being at every class. And this says, as a group. Now, I got a little bit of flack from that because some of the former graduates of the program said, oh, hey, wait a minute, what about our group? What about our group? Well, there's superstars in every group. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. But when I look at the group overall, how they came together, they are extremely bright. They are extremely talented, great personalities. They came together as a group. There were no egos that tried to come to the surface in any of this. They asked great questions, and probably the biggest thing that I liked about it, they listened. You know, a lot of times teenagers don't like to listen. This group listened when we talked, and they actually paid attention to what we had to say. So, scholars, I want to talk to you for a few minutes. Thank you so much for being one of the best groups we've ever had here. I think you need to give yourselves a round of applause. This question came up during the session with Congressman Rogers this afternoon, and I think it's a good question for us to talk about in this graduation ceremony. How did the Rogers Scholars come to be? And it was honestly not long after the center was opened. The center opened in 1996. And probably late 97, Congressman Rogers and his district administrator, Bob Mitchell, and Mike Duncan from Martin County, many of you may know Mike Duncan, were sitting around, and the congressman said, okay, so we've got this wonderful facility, we're going to develop programs, but how do we get the young people engaged? How do we get the young people involved? And that's really where this Rogers Scholars idea came from. Let's get the young people engaged. Let's try to help them become the leaders that they're going to be and try to help accelerate that process. Mike Duncan has run a very successful internship program in his banks in Martin County for many years. And so they used that model to try to develop the Rogers Scholars Program. And I will tell you that I think we've improved on it every year since it's been in existence. Those early years, we were probably a little rough, although we still had some good scholars and we had some good programs. But I think we have improved on it every single year, and I'm very, very proud of the program where it's come. I've said this many, many times. This is my favorite thing that we do at the Center for Rural Development, is the Rogers Scholars Program. I think it has the potential for having the biggest impact on Eastern Kentucky of anything that we can do, on one condition. We have to get you guys back in this region making a difference, being willing to be engaged, doing those community service projects, going to the fiscal court meetings, going to the city council meetings, running for public office, running businesses, creating jobs. And we can change this region forever, but we need you guys to help us get there. We had some great speakers this week. As I mentioned, Congressman Rogers was with us today, and that was a great conversation I always love to see him interact, and he just beams when we talk about the Rogers Scholars Program. And he's said this a lot of times over the last couple of years. There is nothing that he can think of that he would rather have his name associated with than the Rogers Scholars Program. Sorry, that's a little bug that's in my face. But Congressman Rogers was able to be here today. He was not able to be with the first group. He actually recorded a message for them. But I actually think it's good for them to actually sit down and have a conversation with Congressman Rogers. So guys, you got a special treat today, and I'm thrilled that you got that opportunity. I will tell you that he will love to have you reach out to him anytime you're close to one of his offices, or certainly if you're in D.C., reach out and talk to Congressman Rogers. Other speakers that we had, you had two college presidents, Dr. Bill Luckey at Lindsey Wilson and Dr. James Ramsey from the University of Louisville. You had a college vice president, Dr. Michael Colgrove. And then you had Kenny Davis. How many of you like Kenny Davis? What an amazing, amazing story. I've heard it for at least 12 years, and I swear still every time that I hear it, I get a lump in my throat, because it is just such an amazing story that Kenny has. And you'll have to share that story with your parents and tell them some of the resources that Kenny told you about, where they can follow up on the things that he has. You did the video conference with NASA. I always find those very, very interesting. How many people have been to Mars? See, how many? Zero? Zero, exactly. But we can get to Mars. There just haven't been any people there yet. There's a lot of challenges with it. But NASA is a really good experience for you guys to look at other things that are going on in the world. Some of the speakers were philosophical. They talked to you about leadership skills. They talked to you about how you can make a difference. And they wanted to make you think about your future going forward. And a lot of them, certainly these college folks, want you on their campus because you can make a difference. That you're the kind of person they want on your campus. But I want to talk to you a little bit more practical on some things that I've learned in my years on this earth that I wish somebody had sat down and told me those things. I really wish there had been a Rogers Scholars Program when I was going through high school, because I would have absolutely loved the opportunity to be in a program like this. But it's an amazing opportunity for you. My first point, be the very best you can be. You know, you're probably thinking there's a cold, cruel world out there, and you'd be fairly well right. We're living in some scary times right now, some of the scariest times I've ever seen. But I truly believe that this generation has the capability of changing this world like nothing we have ever seen before. You have grown up with technology. You're not afraid of technology. You embrace it, as a matter of fact, and there's nothing for you to be afraid of. Don't tell anyone that you can't do something. If they tell you that, prove them wrong. Be everything that you can be. And whatever you attempt to do in life, give it everything you got. I tell staff and I tell other groups, find your passion. Find what it is that lights you up every single day. When you get out of bed, find what it is that lights you up. I told you, Rogers Scholars lights me up, folks. I love the Rogers Scholars Program. I love my job. I mean, I really do. I love coming to work, because where else can I find an opportunity to affect as many lives on a daily basis as I do at the Center for Rural Development? And I love what I do. And that's what I challenge you to do. Find what it is that lights you up, find your passion, and pursue it with everything you've got. Emerson said, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are but tiny matters compared to what lies within us." What did Dr. Luckey say to you? Greatness lies within you. Give it everything you got, folks, because you have a lot to offer this world. My next point, broaden your horizons. What do I mean by that? I don't mean leave Casey County and go to Lincoln County. I mean look at what else is going on in the world out there. Again, Dr. Luckey talked about going to China and what the students did there in school. That's who you're competing with. You're not competing against the county next door or 3 counties over. You're competing with folks all across the world. And the Chinas and the Indias and the Russians, those are who you're going to be competing with going forward. We've got to make sure that this country remains the greatest country that it ever was and ever will be. We don't want to become a third world country. But if we're not careful and we start getting lax, that's exactly what could happen. China has made tremendous moves in the last few years. We've got to make sure that we keep our place in the world. When my daughters were much, much younger, we hosted 5 exchange students from all over the world, one from Italy, one from Russia, one from the Netherlands, 2 from Japan. And it was a great experience for them to see how other people in the other parts of the world live. Now, I will tell you, deep down, we're all pretty much alike. We all have the same likes and dislikes. We may have different resources available to us, but pretty much we're all alike no matter where we go. And I thought it was a great experience for my daughters. And then when they got a little older and we were able to, we've traveled to 3 of those places and visited those exchange students and see how they live in their home country, just as a reference point. And on a personal note, over the last 4 years, I've been able to take a couple of mission trips to Brazil. Now, the very first time that they approached me about going on this mission trip, I said, no way. You're going to put me out on the Amazon River on a boat and I can't get off and I'm not in control of my surroundings? You have got to be kidding me, because I like to be in control of my situation. But the good Lord told me that I was going to go. And I did. And I think it changed my life forever. I really do. We flew into Manaus and then into another city called Santarém in Brazil. Got on a riverboat. Went up the Amazon River about 4 hours, and then went up another river called the Tapajós River, and we went 12 hours up the Tapajós River, out in the middle of nowhere. There were no cell phones, there wasn't even electricity, no running water, no plumbing. I mean, we're talking primitive, folks. But the thing I was probably most amazed by on that trip were the most contented folks I ever saw in my life. I don't know if it's because they didn't know all the things that are available out there in the world. Really don't know. Or if they're just that comfortable in their surroundings, but they were so contented. You don't have to have a whole lot of money to be content in life. It's not about the money. It's about quality of life. And this life is too short to spend it chasing something that you're not passionate about. So it was a life-changing experience for me. And it's one I'll never forget, and I will go again when the good Lord tells me that it's my time to go again. Next, do not forget where you came from. I hear folks every single day that seem to be ashamed of being from Eastern Kentucky. Rachel, you talked about this today. I'm not one of those folks, I will tell you. I am proud of where I'm from. And I tell folks everywhere I go where I'm from. Kentucky is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And never, ever, ever, ever be ashamed of where you're from. Sure, we may have a little different accent than folks in New York City or Chicago or somewhere else. Doesn't mean that those stereotypes that they've tried to place on us for years and years are correct. They're not. Look at this front 3 rows right here. I will put these students up against anybody, anywhere. Anywhere. So don't be ashamed of where you come from, and don't forget where you came from. I know some of you are going to go off to school, and you're probably never going to come back. But I hope the majority of you will, because that's the reason we have this program, is we want to change southern and eastern Kentucky forever. And the only way that we will do it is get a generation of you guys back in here making a difference. So don't ever be ashamed of where you came from. And this next one, students, I know you're going to roll your eyes on this one. You're going to end up more like your parents than you ever dreamed possible. And right now, that's the farthest thing that you want to think about, is being like your parents. I was the same way. My parents, when I was a teenager, my parents knew nothing. I knew everything, and they knew nothing. But guess what? When you get a little older, you have children of your own, then you start seeing that all of those things that they told you, actually they made some pretty good sense. And you will end up being more like you will want to imitate your parents a whole lot more than you ever care to admit. And they put a lot of faith in you. They put a lot of time and effort in you to get you to this point in your life. From here on, you're going to have to take some ownership of your life. But don't forget that your parents helped you get where you are, and they will help you go forward. I lost my dad 6 years ago, and I still miss him every single day. There's so many conversations I wish I'd been able to have with him, and I will not be able to have those kind of conversations. So don't miss those opportunities. If you have those opportunities, take advantage of them, because you never know when it's going to be gone, and once it's gone, it's gone. You can't replace it. So give your parents a break, and it's okay if you turn out like your parents, because actually they're pretty cool people. Scholars, this world needs you. This region needs you. We need your brains. We need your energy. We need your creativity. We need your talent. I've seen your talents this week. I've seen your creativity this week. I challenge you to be bold. I challenge you to be confident, smart, be willing to change, have fun, and find your passion. You're part of an elite group of Rogers Scholars, and Congressman Rogers challenged you today. You are now ambassadors of the program. You are representatives of the Rogers Scholars Program. You are representatives of the Center for Rural Development. You're representatives of Congressman Rogers. So go out there and do good things. Don't be afraid to take a challenge. Don't be afraid to fail. I think that's the biggest reason that folks don't do anything, is they're afraid to fail. I will tell you that most of the successful entrepreneurs in this world have failed more than once, but they were willing to get up and try again. I had a former boss tell me that the true measure of a person is how they react when they get knocked down. Are you going to get back up, or are you just going to take it and you're going to stay down? If you're willing to get back up and fight every single time that you get knocked down, you can do some great things. And I'll leave you with one last quote that Gandhi said. Be the change that you wish to see in this world. Be the change. You can be the change. One person can make a difference. Be the change that you want to see in this world. There's several folks that I really need to thank, and before I invite Delaney up to guide you through the rest of the program, and first and foremost is Delaney Stevens. He's done a tremendous, tremendous job. Please thank Delaney. As my life has gotten crazier and crazier trying to keep dollars coming into this place and traveling here and there, Delaney has had to take on a much, much larger role running the youth programs, and I will tell you that I think he's done a tremendous, tremendous job. And I'm very proud of the job that he's done. He takes it serious. Guys, do you think Delaney takes his job serious? He does an absolutely fabulous job, and I'm so thankful for that. We have Sharon Hickman here, my Human Resources Director, but Sharon is a whole lot more than a Human Resources Director. Sharon is someone that I can have debates with. If I've got a crazy idea and I go in there and it's a crazy idea, she'll tell me it's a crazy idea. We have that kind of relationship, and I really appreciate that kind of relationship. So thanks, Sharon Hickman, for being here. We've got some other center staff. I'm afraid I'm going to miss some, but I know Shannon Carter and Jonathan Foster are back here. Steve Albritton is up on the sound and lights. We may even have some of the other staff here, but let's thank all center staff so that I don't get in trouble for forgetting someone. And I'll tell you that we've gone through some challenges in years past with some of our RAs, and I will tell you that I think we've got as good a bunch of RAs this year as we've ever had in the program, and I want to introduce them. Aaron Burris, Madison Wesley, and Logan Finley. If we did not have those folks working with the program, Delaney would have not have been able to carry on the program the way that he has. So I am so thankful for all of you. At this time, I would like to invite Delaney up, and he will guide us through the rest of the program. Delaney?
Thank you, Lonnie, for those kind words. You know, it's easy to do your job well when you love what you do. And throughout the year, I do a lot of different things. I coordinate these programs. I spend a lot of time in the communities where you all live. You know, we visit the schools. We talk to you guys about what we do at the center. But I do a lot more, too. And this is the most fun thing and the greatest thing that I like to do at the center. So thank you, Lonnie, for those kind words. And parents, we're glad that you're back here at the Center for Rural Development with us. We've had an awesome week. And this year has been a learning experience for us because 16 years of the program, this is the very first year that we've taken the program off-site, and it couldn't have gone any better than it has this year. Lindsey Wilson College has done an extraordinary amount of work to prepare for this year, and they've done an excellent job. They realize the importance of the program. They know what we try to get through to these scholars. And there's a few individuals that I want to thank that really helped us do a good job this year. Janie Hopkins is the Director of Student Activities, and she did a lot to help me coordinate this program. Her assistant, Kiyathi Patel, she's also the Assistant Director of Student Activities. Chris Schmidt, Dean of Students. Joel Peterson, he led the Getting to Know You activities and team building session on Sunday and Monday. So without those individuals, this program wouldn't have been possible at Lindsey Wilson. Will you help me recognize them, please? Parents, you're going to get to hear from these scholars here in a little bit, but first, I want to say a few things to you guys. First, you guys are awesome. As Lonnie said, this has been a really good group. And in the 2 years that I've been here at the center, we've had 14 programs since I've been here, and you guys have been the best. I mean, this week has been just unbelievable. And Lonnie challenged you all to do things once you go back to your communities, and I want to do the same. You know, you guys have grown as students, you've grown as leaders this week, and don't forget what Chris Schmidt said to you: live, learn, and lead. As you head back to your communities, don't forget the things you've learned, but I want to challenge you to lift other people up. Leadership, community service, technology, and entrepreneurship, they're some of the building blocks of the program, but they're also building blocks of becoming a great leader. And you guys are the ones who are going to lead us into the future. And I hope you're going to do that from Southern and Eastern Kentucky. You've learned a lot this week, but don't keep it to yourself. Whenever you go back to your hometowns, whether it's Pike County or Rowan County, Monroe, Greene, Pulaski, wherever, lift others up. Tell others about what you're doing here and what we do here. We need people like you to energize and inspire others to act. Don't settle for good, like President Lucky said. Don't settle for good. Go for great. I want you all to be the next great entrepreneurs, the next great inventors, and the next great super mentors. And I'm going to leave you with this quote before we start the program tonight. I don't know where it came from, but it fits what this program is about and the kind of students that you guys are. Life is a gift, and it offers us the privilege, opportunity, and responsibility to give something back by becoming more. So become more, go back to your communities, and stay engaged. To kick off tonight's program, I'm going to invite a few students up here that are going to talk about what we've done throughout the week. Every year we have Rogers Scholars Ambassadors. Although these 32 students, they're all ambassadors. And I hope all of you will still stay engaged throughout the week or throughout the year and years to come as you go back to your communities. But these guys have selected 2 students from their group to serve as Rogers Scholars Ambassadors. We started this program in 2006 or 7, and 2 students are selected from each week of Rogers Scholars to serve as a guiding force for a program curriculum, help us with the youth programs reunion that we do every year, and to stay engaged with the program and inspire others to act in their communities, become involved with community service and other things. So this year's ambassadors for week 2 are Ms. Nora Alley from Pike County and Mr. Ryan Anderson from Rowan County. And I want to invite you all to come up and talk about what we've done this week.
Well, you've heard about the conference through the words of Mr. Lawson and Delaney Stevens over here. But we'd like to show you through the eyes of the students and what we've been doing for the past week. Let's see. This is day 1. This is us getting to know each other. We didn't know a soul here when we came, so it was hard for all the big personalities to get together and try not to clash and actually learn to kind of work together and bond together. Some nice smiling faces. That's a well-taken picture. This is our Getting to Know You activities led by Joel Peterson. He took the time to work some name games, get us to shake hands. And this was actually one of the games we played. We were handed a few cards and asked to make 21 out of a set of cards and represent that with our bodies, as you can see Brooke doing there. But we had a good time with it. We really got to know each other. We had to put tennis balls on a ring in the middle of a bunch of strings and set them on a PVC pot. Now, as easy as that sounds, you might be you'd be surprised. This is our session with Dr. Peter Hackbert from Berea College, and he brought about 20 students out of his entrepreneurship program to come speak to us about how to be entrepreneurs, how to be successful, what techniques to use and how to use them. That's Grant Cox demonstrating a sales pitch. It was an honor to have Dr. Ramsey from Louisville come speak to us. He had a lot of good things to say about. He taught us about the economy. He's an economic major, and he told us how to survive in the world of college tuition and room and board, and how to make sense out of all the numbers. So we had a good time listening to him. This was the illustrious Marshmallow Challenge. We were assigned to make the tallest freestanding tower out of dry spaghetti, a couple strings, a strip of tape, and a marshmallow, which I lost, but it was a lot of fun. It was trying to get us to work together, use our creative minds, and do the best we could. Let's see here. This was a college fair. We had 20 colleges come from everywhere around Kentucky, and actually had one in Tennessee to come talk about their school and try to sell their school to us and explain the scholarships that they did offer to us. We had a good time with them. As you can see, the room was full. President Lucky of Lindsey Wilson College actually invited us inside of his house to have an etiquette dinner, to learn how to conduct ourselves in a business situation and not gouge your food and get it all over you. And it was a good time. Mr. David Escobar had us over to actually give us a course in ballroom dancing. Now, no matter how hesitant we were about learning the waltz before, once we got into it, it was a lot of fun. We learned to do the swing dance as well. But we all had a great time with it. And we had some pretty good dance moves, if I do admit. There's one an example. And I'm going to turn it over to Nora to finish it out for us.
This is actually Mrs. Sue Stivers. She talks about... No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. That's embarrassing. It's Miss Susan Mitten. She talked to us about communication, which I obviously didn't do really well right there. But she just talked to us about how, in order to live in this world today, how important communication is. And if you want to get anything through anyone, communication is the number one thing to do. This was Ryan with the Special Olympics. He was one heck of a person. He was so funny. He talked to us about what the Special Olympics does and how it's changed the world. And he actually was on the USA team, and he does track and field and flag football. And so he does really, really well with that. This is, again, giving a gift. This is us with Ryan taking a group picture. We went and actually our first community service project was to help out with Pride and pick up trash, but then we got rained out really, really bad. And so we went and made t-shirts for Lake Cumberland Advocacy Foundation, And what they do is they give these T-shirts to hospitalized, or not hospitalized, but like abused children who go to hospitals to get a checkup done. So instead of wearing like, a hospital gown, they'd wear these T-shirts that say like happy things on them. And there's just us making them. And this is President Lucky. He is a president of Lindsey Wilson College, and he talked to us about how in the world today, how important education is, and if we're going to do anything, education is the #1 thing to do. This was one of my favorite things. We actually talked to someone from Ohio with NASA, and he talked to us about Mars and how we're trying to get there. And he talked to us about how it's super, super hard and all like the stuff that we're going to have to do in order to get there. This is our cookout. This is one of our last dinners there. This is outside of the Wellness Center, which is super, super awesome. We sat underneath a water tank and we looked up and what was that? This is inside the Wellness Center. We were just sitting there writing thank you cards, which was a lot of fun as well. This is Kenny Davis. He absolutely has an amazing story, and I want all the scholars to tell their parents because I cried so much when I listened to it, and I'm sure they all did. He was in the 1972, he was the captain of the 1972 Olympic U.S. basketball team. Amazing, amazing guy. This is just our group picture. And then Hal Rogers came and talked to us today, and he talked to us about how proud he is about, the Rogers Scholar Program and how it's his favorite thing. This was our group hug last night, our last nightly meeting, and so we wanted to end it good. And so, which we did. And now Ryan's going to talk just a little bit more.
Part of it was showing you how it looked through the students' eyes, but not through the students' hearts. Rogers Scholars, to me, had always been a landing point, a goal, an achievement that I could rest my academic success on. And ever since I heard about it in the 7th grade, it was the summit of the mountain. It was the place to reach, the ultimate achievement. And I'm honored to say I'm here. But what I didn't realize before I got here was that this isn't all this class has to offer. The inspirational speakers, my awe-inspiring colleagues, and my amazing supervisors have all led me to believe that while Rogers Scholars is an amazing mountain to climb, we don't have time to rest once we conquer it. All we can see now are the taller mountains in the distance, mountains that I intend to climb. This program, these scholars, and these leaders have changed my life, and I cannot thank all of you enough.
Okay. So before I came to Rogers, I was at a 3-week camp. It was Governor's School for Entrepreneurs, and I really didn't want to leave it because I got so close to everyone, and so I was kind of dreading Rogers. But I said my goodbyes from there, and I came here and I said, a couple hellos. But I remember staying up the first night and talking to my roommates, Caitlin, Molly, and Cammie, about just everything, and I don't even think we actually fell asleep. But I still felt in my heart that I belonged at GSC, like I just wouldn't fit in here. But the second day came, and we had leisure time, and I played a game called Signs. And Signs is not your average game. It's critical thinking, and it's a lot of fun. In the end, though, we all, came together as a family. Ballroom dancing was fun, too. We stepped on each other's feet through the whole night. That's always fun. The experiences during the seminars will always be remembered. The fun we had at the RAs at the Wellness Center, Bessie, I'll never forget that. I truly appreciate every single one of the experiences I've had with all of you. And Delaney, without you, this program wouldn't even function. And Lonnie, thanks for doing everything and keeping up with the center. I want to leave you guys with a quote. There will be a few times in your life when all of your instincts will tell you to do something that defies logic, upsets your plans, and may seem crazy to others. When that happens, you do it. Listen to your instincts and ignore everything else. Ignore logic, ignore the odds, ignore the complications, and just go for it. Thank you guys so much.
I have no doubt that you two are going to be awesome Rogers Scholars ambassadors, and the rest of you guys are going to be awesome Rogers Scholars Ambassadors. You know, throughout the week, these scholars, Sunday, I'll be honest, I was a little bit hesitant about how this group would work together because we had a great group 2 weeks ago, and so I wanted this group to be just as good, and they've been great. Each day, I could see them come together just a little bit more and a little bit more, and it's amazing how even ballroom dancing will bring out the best in them and kind of open up their personalities just a little bit more. So I've had a blast this week. I'm really sad that it's ending. This is my favorite time of the year. Rogers Scholars is my favorite program that we do here, and I'm just so happy that you guys were able to be a part of it. Throughout the week, we have speakers, we do community service, etiquette dinner, ballroom dancing, and a lot of other things, but we also do majors. And those 3 majors are engineering, video production, and healthcare. And I'll tell you, whenever I sent these students their acceptance packets a few months back, and I got everything back here to the center, healthcare is #1 popular major, and it's just amazing, and that's a great thing. But not everybody got the major they wanted at first, but I'm pretty sure now that even engineering and video production, the students that were in those majors, they ended up loving it. And you guys are going to see, parents, you're going to get to see what they've done this week. So I want to invite the engineering students to come up, and they're going to share all the things that they did in engineering.
I'm Riley Grant from Adair County.
I'm Nate Brock from Lincoln County.
I'm Emerson James from Jessamine County.
I'm Daniel Thompson from Knott County.
I'm Grant Cox from Taylor County.
I'm Marcus Todd from Knox County.
I'm Molly Matney from Metcalfe County.
I'm Ron Anderson from Rowan County.
I'm Rachel Harmon from Clay County.
I'm Rachel Kane from Rockcastle County.
I'm Shelby Stevens from Elliott County. And I'm Nora Lee from Pike County. Our major was engineering, and so you guys are probably wondering what engineering is and what all we did this week. So we learned through UK and WKU that engineering is the application of math and science to fix everyday problems. This week we learned how little everyday things have engineering in them. Also, we learned how to slow motion video balloons, but we'll get to that later.
A major part of engineering is teamwork, and this week we did teamwork activities through our major. We played a name game, and we also played a hula hoop game. The hula hoop game is when we had to get the hula hoop through a chain of us. It's pretty cool.
On the first day of majors, we were fortunate enough to be joined by Dr. Walcott and his wife. Dr. Walcott is an engineering professor at the University of Kentucky. To start off the class, we played a buzzer game that helped us learn more about different types of engineering. This helped us lay down a very good foundation for the rest of Dr. Walcott's presentation.
During Dr. Walcott's time here, we all got to build a little aluminum boat to see how many pennies we could put on it without it sinking. To do this, we had to guess at the dimensions, the width, the height, the length of it, which is a major component of engineering. The biggest boat we built, or the most successful one, held 29 pennies, which was mine, but we did a lot of other great activities, which the other students are going to talk about.
One of the things we did that you may have seen on the slideshow was actually make a working direct current motor, which was something that I'd never done before, no matter the physics classes I've taken at school, and something the other scholars have never done before either. We made it out of a D-battery, copper wire, paper clips, rubber band, and a magnet. And I'm sure it couldn't really power an airplane, but it was a lot of fun.
One thing that I really enjoyed about engineering was these bulletproof medals that we got from the professor from UK. We got them for participating in an engineering class, and they had our names engraved on them, and I think that we'll all keep them for like tokens just to look back on this in our lives.
First, I would like to thank Professor Ellis and her 4 students for coming to work with us on Thursday from WKU. These 4 students were mechanical engineering students, which I was very excited about because this is a branch of engineering I hope to go into. They each told us about how they ended up at WKU. Each story involved math and physics. We learned skills that engineers use every day. We also learned that engineers get to be artistic and serve others. It was very interesting to learn about the projects and how much hands-on work that is part of the curriculum at WKU. Professor Ellis helped me understand what I would be doing as an engineer.
The students at WKU showed us a design program called SolidWorks. It's a lot like a CAD design program. You make it makes high definition 3D models, and you can animate them to see what they'll do in real life. It also makes super realistic renderings of prototypes for products to make in the mechanical engineering field. They explained the program to us, showed us some of its key features and why it's really cool, and they showed us how a single cylinder motor would work animated inside the program.
Another amazing experiment we saw in engineering was basically when somebody took a plate and spun it at a high speed with reflective tape on it. They could use a light, and you could see 6 of them or 1 of them at a time. It was almost like having frame skip in your eyes.
Yesterday, with the WKU affiliates, we created a mobile. You might have seen the colored shapes, the red and the black colored shapes, and we put them together and made sure that they were the same weight, and we used creativity and mathematics in order to build a mobile right there.
In engineering, we were fortunate enough to be able to use these slow motion cameras that we caught a lot of cool dropping a lot of cool things off of one-story buildings and stuff. We drop eggs, balloons with whipped cream, biscuits in a can. What we learned out of this was different ways that you could look at the engineering field, and I think that's about it for me.
As you can tell, we've been quite busy these past 2 days, and like me and about everybody else, engineering might not have been my first choice, but I think by the end of the week, we all loved what we did, and this experience was, it was great. And coming into this week, for me at least, I knew what engineering was. I knew it was popular, but I really didn't get what engineers do and how it applies to the real world. And through the work and through the different professors that we had, through the week, you develop to learn. You get what they're really doing. You get what engineers are trying to do in the real world. And that was really what I got out of it. And we're getting ready to show you a video here that's going to show you a little insight into what we did, and it's pretty cool. So let's see.
As you can see, they had quite a bit of fun. But, in all seriousness, engineering, we need more critical thinkers. We need you guys to be able to solve problems, especially in this region. So I hope that you got a lot out of this major. And UK and WKU, they have a lot to offer. So, as you all go back to school and start your junior years, go into your senior year, make sure you take college visits and make sure you check out what you've learned here at Scholars. The next major that's going to come up is healthcare careers. And about 3 or 4 years ago, up until then, we had information technology, but it got kind of outdated because you guys know how to use computers. You know everything about cell phones, and it's amazing, really, what you guys do know just by talking to some of you this past week. So we took IT out and we put in healthcare, and it's been a great fit since then. We have a wonderful relationship with Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital here in Somerset, and this year, being at Lindsey Wilson College, we were able to take advantage of their nursing facilities over there. So they had a good experience, and they're going to come up and talk about what they did.
I'm Cece Roberts, and I'm from Pulaski County.
I'm Skylar Geralds, and I'm from Monroe County.
I'm Cami Bobrowski, and I'm from Owsley County.
I'm Caitlin King, and I'm from Macquarie County.
I'm Michael Maggard, and I'm from Breathitt County.
I'm Carson Staples, and I'm from Wayne County.
I'm Devin Montgomery, and I'm from Pulaski County.
I'm Cassidy Cyrus, and I'm from Lawrence County.
I'm Samantha Estes, and I'm from Lee County.
I'm Trevor Farmer, and I'm from Pulaski County. So, once again, I'm Trevor Farmer, and our major for this week was healthcare. Each one of us has thoroughly enjoyed this week, especially I, because we all one day hope to have a professional occupation in the medical field. Most of our time was spent at Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital, and then another smaller portion was spent at the nursing center at Lindsey Wilson College. And as you look over our PowerPoint, we have come up with some comical phrases to describe our experience. Now, I will let Samantha tell you about the first portion that we spent in the operation room while I tell you about the second.
Well, the first thing we did when we got there was we had to put on our full, scrubs and our hairnets and everything, so that was really cool. And then one of the first things we saw when we got there was we got to see a back surgery. They were actually removing the disc of someone's back, and we got to look in the window at that, so that was pretty cool.
And we also got to observe 2 other surgeries that Samantha didn't mention. First, we got to observe a knee surgery by Dr. Elnagar, and it was a knee surgery where it was a total knee replacement. They removed the kneecap and put a prosthetic bone piece in. And then lastly, as we were about to exit the operation room, Dr. Ritchie invited us actually into the operation room to watch an umbilical hernia removal. And this is the first time out of all the years of Rogers Scholars that this is the only group that we've actually been invited into the operation room just a couple feet away from a live surgery. So that was pretty big.
When we went to Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital, we learned how to suture. Dr. C. Tack was the instructor, and he gave us foam boards that had an incision cut into it, and he instructed us how to properly suture a wound.
We actually got to talk to Dr. Seatack about medical school and what it took for him to get where he was today, and that was really interesting. And one of the things that he emphasized was that if we want to go into healthcare, we need to do it because we love it, not for the money, but I kind of thought the money was enough persuading for me, so.
Yesterday while we were at the hospital, we toured the emergency room. While doing so, we were told many interesting facts. The ER prides itself in serving as many people as possible in a quick manner. Last year, they served over 110 patients a day and over 40,000 a year.
To be completely honest, our entire visit to the hospital was great all week, but during our visit to the radiology department, we got to see differences between the MRI and the CAT scan. We got to see x-rays. We also got to see software and 3D imaging that they actually can use to show this information to their doctors by using advanced graphics programs, and it was really neat to see these people who are really passionate about their field.
When we went to the lab, we got to see the kneecap that was removed the day before, and they showed us how they identify bacteria. Two days ago when we were at the hospital, Dr. White, he showed us how to do an echocardiogram of a heart. He showed us, there Skylar likes his picture. He showed us that there was more than one way to go in and look at your heart through an ultrasound. So I think there was the normal way. So that's what we did.
Yesterday night, we got to work with some of the nurses with Lindsey Wilson College. We got to learn about the heart and its different parts and the main arteries, and we got to color code our charts to be sure we knew which ones were important, which ones we should study the most. Then we went into the lab to dissect the pig's heart. We all had a great time dissecting the heart, and we each compared different parts that were unique in our opinion. We tried to locate certain parts of the heart in order to cut them out. It was awesome, and we all enjoyed it.
And then lastly, we worked hand in hand with Monica Kidder from Lindsey Wilson College. She is a nursing teacher, and she allowed us to go into the nursing lab, and we got to view these mechanical patients. And the patients, they did things that humans would do. For example, they could have a heart attack, they could give birth, they could have a stroke, and her nursing patients would treat that. And so she taught us all how to check our own blood pressure. And at first we practiced on the patients, and then we all took turns checking each other's. And it was just a great 3 days in our medical field, and it was just awesome.
Thank you all. It's great with the majors that we do. We don't sit in a classroom. We don't take notes. Well, they don't. I don't do anything with that. But, they don't take notes. They don't listen to lectures and all of that. They actually get to do hands-on stuff. You guys are interested in engineering and video production and healthcare. And how are you going to actually know if you want to do it or not unless you actually get to do something? So I'm glad that we have good working relationships with community organizations, the hospital, Lindsey Wilson, so that you guys can do things like this. And I'm really excited about the last major that we did this year, video production. Being at Lindsey Wilson College enabled us to enhance this major a little bit. We actually got to work with all kinds of great technology at the college, some Apple computers and Final Cut Pro, and it was completely digital this year. It had never been completely digital, so that was a great thing, and it made really the process a lot easier. So video production, you all want to come up and talk about what you guys did?
Hello, I'm James Tobby from Morgan County.
I'm Brooke Giles from Martin County.
I'm Chelsea Gray from Knox County.
Gabrielle Moore from Pulaski.
My name is Donald Dameron, a.k.a. Ron Burgundy in the news community, and I'm from Carter County.
I'm Carrie Sellers from Casey County.
I'm Haley McCone from Letcher County.
I'm Emma Roach from Menifee County.
Hi, I'm Sarah Miles from Knox County.
Good evening. I'm Amelia Bussell from Laurel County, and we are the video production major. And this week we really had a lot of fun, and we got to make a news broadcast, which you're about to see. And we got to really learn how news anchors work. That's what me and Donald were. And we got to learn how about green screens and video editing. And we had two separate teams for stories. We had a campus team and a community team, and they're going to tell you about a little bit what they did.
Hi, I'm Sarah again. I worked with the community group that interviewed the mayor of Columbia, Mr. Harris.
And we also interviewed Michael Harris that owns Red Brick Recording Studio here in town, which is where we got most of our footage for the film from the community. I worked mainly as a writer, but I also helped with editing. So.
My job on the community team was I was the camera woman and I was the editor. When creating a video, you have to edit footage that you've taken in an interview through a program. Our program was Final Cut Pro 10, which was very, very fun and easy to use. Basically what we did was we put the footage in and then spiced in where we wanted to go and then added voiceovers.
My job was script writing with Sarah, and I also helped edit.
I was in the community group, and I did a little bit of the writing with Sarah, and I was also the reporter for our group. So I got to be in front of the camera, and I got to do the voiceover.
I was the anchor for the community group. We got to do a lot of cool stuff, technology stuff. We got to use a green screen. It was awesome. And for those of you that are fans of Ron Burgundy, I got a little surprise for you at the end of the video, so just wait. It'll be good.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle, and I would like to talk about the campus video. Now, our topic for this video was the rising tuition rate across the nation for college. Now, obviously, this is a big problem, so we wanted to ask the best of the best for their advice, and that was Dean Adams and Denise Fudge for an interview. We learned a lot and had a really good time. I was a reporter for this video, and here is the rest of our amazing crew.
Again, I'm Chelsea, and I was an editor for the Campus News.
I'm Brooke Dials, and I was also in video editing.
I was in the campus group, and I worked with the cameras, and I also helped with video editing.
And here's our video.
Welcome to the Roger Scholars edition of the LWC News Magazine. I'm Donald Dameron.
And I'm Amelia Bessel.
One of America's many great privileges is the ability to operate a business.
There's no greater feeling than witnessing many customers coming through your doors on opening day after many months of preparation and planning.
We wanted to find out more regarding the effects of small businesses in a community. Carrie Sellers tells us more.
Well, there's a lot of duties, everyday duties for the mayor, but I guess the most important thing is to oversee the daily operations of our city government. See that most of our town is of small businesses. We have a couple industries here, but Columbia's always been about small businesses. It benefits our town by providing jobs to people. When you don't have a big factory or something, people have to come up with their own means of supporting themselves, and entrepreneurship is one way they can do that.
Entrepreneurship is growing rapidly in the small community of Columbia, shown by the success of businesses like Red Brick Recording and Cafe on the Square.
Well, actually, Columbia, we have our own recording studio now on the public square. One of our local residents owns that. It's called Red Brick Studios. They do professionally recording for music artists. They have people from Nashville up here probably every week. We've also got some family-owned businesses like the Cafe on the Square. It had closed for a while, but another family that actually started it out to begin with have reopened it, and we're excited about that. It benefits our town by providing jobs to people.
Columbia can serve as an entrepreneurial model for other communities.
Or something. People have to come up with their own means of supporting themselves, and entrepreneurship is one way they can do that, and it just helps others to go out and dream on their own. If they can see what this person has done and made it on their own business, then it gives other people, maybe I can do that myself and put my idea to work. A lot of people have ideas, and sometimes they're afraid to just, as they say, go for it and do it.
Family-owned businesses allow individuals to become self-employed
while also creating jobs for others.
It probably encourages others, and sometimes, like I say, when one business gets here, then it's kind of a rolling thing. You get one, and then another, and then another. It's kind of a chain reaction.
Small businesses allow a community's economy to flourish by recirculating dollars spent within the area.
Your local people. We always encourage people in Columbia and in our community, you know, if we can shop at home, if we have it here, let's shop at home, and that keeps money in our community, and it keeps our businesses thriving. So if we can encourage folks to do business in our own town, it helps everybody.
It's time to get down to business. I'm Carrie Sellers reporting.
Statistics show that about 50% of adults actually do consider opening and owning a business at some point in their life.
With small businesses beginning to flourish everywhere, there has never been a better time to finally open up the store of your dreams.
Coming up next, we will hear the truth about rising college tuition rates.
Is it affordable for students in today's economy? The Rogers Scholars wanted to find out more.
Based on the National Center for Education Statistics, the average tuition cost is $35,000 annually and rising.
It's just the economy. I mean, you know, prices are rising on everything, everywhere, whether it's buying a car or a gallon of milk at the grocery store. You know, it just costs more to live and to operate a business. And that's a large part of why tuition increases occur.
I think everything's going up. If you look at textbooks are extremely expensive at every level and at every school, but generally costs are going up. You know, when you think about things in the market, what drives up the price is people's ability to pay or people's willingness to pay. And what we find in America is people are willing to pay more for a college education. Now, obviously, it depends on the area and things of that nature. Keep tuition to go up at a minimal rate. But unfortunately, you know, people want to have raises, the electric bill goes up, gasoline costs more, things of that nature. So you have to go up a little bit, but we've generally gone up less than 4% per year.
Even though tuition is rising, there are still ways to make college affordable.
Save money in college. If I paid for the meal in the cafeteria, I'd make sure I ate in the cafeteria. You know, whatever I paid for, I would make sure that I made pretty good use of that. Not all college students do that.
When you get to college, it's just going to be budgeting, you know, managing your money, and you have to keep your grades up. You know, that's the other important thing. After you get to college, if you've received academic scholarships, your KEYS money for Kentucky residents that go to Kentucky colleges, you have to keep a certain GPA in order to maintain your academic scholarships from one year to the next. But, you know, when you're thinking about financing a college education, you have to think of it as an investment. It's not an expense. It's an investment because you're investing in your future and what that college education is going to do for you.
I'll tell you, it's a journey, not a destination.
College can be affordable for anyone. I'm Gabrielle Moore reporting.
With college rates continually rising, it's good to know that there are ways to alleviate costs.
Thanks for watching the Rogers Scholars edition of the LWC News Magazine. I'm Amelia Bussell.
And I'm Donald Dameron. Keep it classy, Columbia.
You guys did a great job with that, and I forgot to mention Dean Adams. He's the Vice President of Student Services at Lindsey Wilson College. He was one of the people that made this happen this year over there, so I want to thank him as well, and you got to see him in that video. At this time, I want to invite Madison Wesley to come up, one of our RAs, and she's going to talk about the Doug Reese Memorial Award that we give out to 2 students every year throughout the program. Madison?
Beginning 7 years ago, we began awarding the Doug Reese Memorial Award to the scholar that scores the highest on their Rogers Scholars application. A. Douglas Reese was well known throughout southern and eastern Kentucky as a prominent attorney, civic leader, and a fabulous storyteller. Doug was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1943. Doug's family moved to Jackson County, Kentucky when he was a child. Doug passed away suddenly on January 4, 2006, and at the time of his death, he was chairman of the board of directors of the Center for Rural Development.
He served on the board of directors of the center from its inception in 1995 until January 2006 and was board chairman from July 2004 until his death. He is survived by one daughter, Amy, and one son, Adrian, as well as one brother, Gary Reese. He was a consummate politician. Just after his admission to the bar in 1971 and through 1986, Reese was in private practice with Clay and Laurel counties and served as city attorney for Manchester for 5 years during that time. In the 1980s, Doug moved from Manchester to London, Kentucky. His law practice in the 1980s was one of the largest coal law practices in eastern Kentucky. Doug served in a number of law firms until 1988 when he again went into solo private practice in London. He served on numerous boards, commissions, and civic clubs during his lifetime, and he absolutely loved eastern Kentucky. The Doug Reese Memorial Awards are given to the highest scoring Rogers Scholars selected each year. A copy of his entire biography will be given to the winners of this award, along with a plaque, a handmade dulcimer donated by Dr. Bruce Ayers, president of Southeast Community and Technical College, and a $250 college scholarship to any Kentucky college or university. And it is my pleasure to announce that the 2013 Doug Reese Memorial Award goes to Donald Dameron.
We began this award in 2007, and actually Madison Wesley was the very first Doug Reese Memorial Award winner. She went through Rogers Scholars in 2007, and that year they didn't get a dulcimer. So at this time I want to present Madison with another dulcimer so that she can have one as well. Parents, before we close the program out tonight and you all head home, we're going to present these certificates that we have for these Rogers Scholars that recognizes them for their participation in this program. And I'm going to invite Aaron Burris to come up and read those names off.
Nora Lee. Ryan Anderson. Kami Bobrowski. Nate Brock. Amelia Bussell. Rachel Kane. Grant Cox. Cassidy Cyrus. Donald Dameron. Brooke Dowles. Samantha Estes. Trevor Farmer. Skylar Geralds. Riley Grant. Chelsea Gray. Rachel Harmon. Emerson James. Caitlin King. Michael Mackard. Molly Matney. Haley McCone, Sarah James Miles, Devin Montgomery, Gabrielle Moore, Emma Roach Brett, Cece Roberts, Carrie Sellers, Carson Staples, Shelby Stevens, James Talby, Daniel Thompson, Marcus Todd. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your 2013 Rogers Scholars.
Before we close, if you will indulge me just a couple of minutes, there's a lot of folks that I really need to thank that would help to make this program possible. First and foremost is Congressman Rogers. Would you guys thank him, please? I want to thank the Center for Rural Development Board of Directors and all the staff because they do an absolutely tremendous job, and the board allows us to continue this program. The only way that we support this program is through all of our fundraising efforts, and the board will keep supporting us in doing this program because they believe it's as important as I do. And so please thank the Center Board of Directors and Center staff. And then I've got a list of folks here that we'll thank, and then you can thank all of them at once. University of Kentucky College of Engineering that provides instructors for the engineering major. Western Kentucky University College of Engineering and Dr. Ellis. Lindsey Wilson College and Dr. Bill Lucky and the entire faculty in opening up their campus to us. Absolutely amazing. South Kentucky Rural Electric Cooperative, who has raised over $175,000 over the last 11 years, holding a golf tournament supporting this program. The Moan Family Foundation, AT&T, Mr. Milton Huffaker, Conley Bottom Resort, Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital, and all of our speakers, and last but not least, all of you parents. Please thank those folks if you will. We do want to thank you again for your support of the program. And parents, I will tell you that when they come back home and start those community service projects, they need your support. If they're going to get the college scholarships, they absolutely must complete that community service plan. So help them when they get back into your home communities. And if they need us to help them guide them or make connections with them, we're thrilled to do that. And I think you guys may have something special for your parents. Is that correct? Take it away.
So last night we were all in our dorms, and we were kind of sulky, and we were down in the dumps. It's the last night of camp. We're not wanting to leave all these great friends that we've made. And my main man, Nate Brock over there, wave at him, Nate. Hey, Nate. Okay, he's the kid in the... Okay, never mind. But anyways, so Nate Brock calls us all up. Wave at him. Come on. There we go. He calls us all up and says, hey, we got to get together. We got to plan something to show our appreciation for all these wonderful people who have made this week great for us. And so what we're getting ready to do, that's for all you guys that have helped us out this week. So thank you very much.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories in dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Safe travels and God bless.